Hi, my name is Jo Schifrin. I use she, her pronouns. I live in Bethesda, which is County District 1 and State District 16. I'm the co-chair of the Montgomery County Community Building and Education Team and a member of the Montgomery County Leadership Council. In this video, we will discuss the Maryland General Assembly and what's at stake in the race for state senators and delegates. What is the role of the General Assembly? Our General Assembly is the legislative branch of government in Maryland and therefore creates the laws for the state. State legislators meet for a 90-day session between January and April each year to consider thousands of bills and pass hundreds of them. They also sometimes meet for a special session between regular sessions. The legislature has the power to overturn the governor's vetoes with a 3/5 majority vote. Currently, Democrats have a supermajority in the General Assembly, and they have overridden many of Governor Hogan's vetoes on party lines, but it is not a given that every veto will be overridden. In most cases, the veto process delays legislation and funding for at least a year. In an election year like this one, anything the governor vetoed after the session ended cannot be overridden, and the bill must be resubmitted starting from scratch when the new legislature takes office next January. The General Assembly approves the state budget, and as discussed in the video about the governor, beginning in 2023, the General Assembly will have new powers to add spending to the budget. Members of the legislature provide constituent services, such as helping people navigate state agencies. So, who is up for election? The Maryland General Assembly is made up of 141 members of the House of Delegates and 47 members of the state Senate. The entire General Assembly is up for election every 4 years, and there are no term limits. There are 47 legislative districts, and most districts have 1 state senator and 3 members of the House of Delegates. Some House districts are single-member districts, which means that each person votes for 1 senator and only 1 delegate. Because of state-level redistricting, some legislative districts have changed. We are providing 3 resources linked in the slides to help you find your district and who will be on the 2022 ballot. First, figure out your district number using the new Maryland legislative district maps. Second, go to the 2022 general election candidate listing and click on your House and Senate district number to find the candidates for your district along with their campaign websites and social media information. Third, you can find information about current legislators and their voting record by visiting the Maryland General Assembly website. So what's at stake in the General Assembly races? Well, what isn't at stake? The General Assembly makes decisions that impact everyone in Maryland, covering topics from expanding healthcare coverage and protecting the environment to addressing food insecurity and preventing gun violence. We saw an example of the General Assembly acting to protect vulnerable members of our community in December 2021, when they voted to override Governor Hogan's veto of a law called Dignity Not Detention. This law, Dignity Not Detention, prohibits local contracts with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, so people don't end up in jail just because of their immigration status. The law also requires more oversight of private ICE detention centers and prohibits law enforcement from asking about citizenship or immigration status. It took the combined effort of advocates led by CASA and supportive lawmakers to pass this legislation and override the governor's veto. This is just one example of what's at stake. Who represents us in Annapolis next year will determine whether or not the next General Assembly will work on behalf of people who have too often been ignored and marginalized including renters, immigrants, and people, including children, who are in the criminal justice system. Your vote in the General Assembly races will shape our state for years to come.